Now, College Board doesn't require you to memorize a whole lot of formulas, which is nice. However, on our reference document, they do not have arc length or area of a sector. So in this case, they're looking for the area of a sector, and that formula is 1/2 r squared theta. And a really important distinction to make is that theta always has to be in radians. So if you forget how to convert from degrees to radians or radians to degrees, you can go to page 35 of my math reference document. Specifically, this is side 5. And up here we have all things trig. And so notice if you want to go from degrees to radians, you want to multiply by pi over 180. Keeping in mind that pi has to do with radians, so you want that on top. If you want to go from radians to degrees, you want the degree measure on top, so you want the 180 on top. And the reason this conversion works, the same way that 12 inches is equivalent to 1 foot, notice pi radians is equivalent to 180 degrees. So we're going to go ahead and plug everything we currently know, which in this case, we want the area. 1/2 is obviously a constant. The radius is 7, and they want the area of the shaded sector where the central angle is 280 degrees. And so we're going to multiply by pi over 180. So we're ready to go ahead and put all this in our calculator. However, something I want you to keep in mind from my triple T document, so Tom's testing tips, here for the math section, I have it highlighted that even though tip 1 says, don't look at the answer options right away, they'll only confuse you, we have these 2 asterisks here to say it can be useful to look at the answer format. And so in this case, notice that all the answer options do have a pi in it. So I don't want to type in the pi into Desmos because then I'll get some decimal answer. So even though pi is in my answer, I'm not going to type it in. So let's go into Desmos. This is from a previous question, so we'll click the gear icon, delete all. And if we type in 1/2, and I'll go to the right, 7, and then I'll press Shift 6 to do the caret, squared, and then I could just type right, and then 280. And if I smush them all together, it's assumed that I'm multiplying these, but you could obviously put the multiplication symbol by doing Shift 8. I'll go ahead and do that now. Actually, instead, because of the fact that we're not going to multiply by pi, and we are going to do divided by 180, I can do the / and put this whole thing over 180. I could have chosen instead to do, if you wanted, times 1 over 180, but no reason to complicate things. I would just put the whole thing over 180. And notice we get this, really, it's a whole number with the decimal component. In other words, this would be a mixed number. So with a value like this, what I would actually do if I see something like that, I'm going to click here, and it's going to turn it into the fraction equivalent. And notice that that matches perfectly with A.